I'm Adrian Seat, and this is Nightline. The top stories. No need for Malay-only PM clause in Constitution, says Anwar. And federal court bins law that makes it a crime for men to entice married women. Thanks for joining us. There is no need for the federal constitution to be amended to restrict the prime ministership to only Malays. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim stressed that whether they are from the government or the opposition bloc, every prime ministerial candidate has always been a Malay.
Sejak merdeka sampai sekarang, calon Perdana Menterinya Melayu. Lepas ini pun calon daripada kerajaan pun Melayu, calon daripada pembangkang pun Melayu.
Anwar said the matter should not be discussed, urging the nation to move forward while safeguarding the rights of the people and to protect the interests of all citizens, ethnicities and regions. He was responding to Bersatu Youth Chief Wan Ahmad Faisal Wan Ahmad Kamal's call to amend the constitution to ensure that only Malays can become the Prime Minister. Meanwhile, Datuk Sri Anwar reminded the opposition to not play up issues that could create racial disharmony and disputes. Anwar said the opposition instead should focus on finding ways to strengthen the country's economy and elevate the burden of the people.
Ini bukan isu dan sekarang ini tak pernah menjadi isu. Jadi jangan kita rumitkan keadaan. Seperti juga yang diwar-warkan pembangkang soal persepadanan semula. Tapi perkara tak berbangkit pun. Dia cuma nak laga-lagakan, nak bagi orang Melayu marah, nak bagi orang Cina marah. Tak bangkit. Dia tak faham perlembagaan. Perlembagaan membolehkan kita mengkaji semula hanya pada akhir 2026. Dia nak sibuk ni pasal apa?
The federal court has repealed Section 498 of the Penal Code that criminalizes men for enticing married women as it is unconstitutional. Chief Justice Tun Tengku Maimun Tuan Mat, in a unanimous decision, said the panel held the section as unconstitutional as it is unlawfully discriminates only on the grounds of gender that is violative of Article 8, subsection 2 of the Federal Constitution. The five-member bench Apex Court, led by Chief Justice Tun Tengku Maimun Tuan Mat, made the ruling after allowing a 53-year-old businessman's application to challenge a provision in the Penal Code. The applicant argued that Section 498 of the Penal Code violated women's right to equality before the law, as the section only accorded husbands the right to initiate criminal proceedings against a person who interfered in their marriage. He also argued that the provision was discriminatory against women in marriages because it treated women as their husband's property and was open to abuse by husbands. The man was charged in the Petaling Jaya Magistrates Court in 2020 for enticing a married woman in an apartment in Selangor in 2018 after a police report was lodged by the woman's husband. Under Section 498 of the Penal Code, the man can be sentenced to 2 years in jail or fined or both if convicted. The Shah Alam High Court in March this year had allowed the man's application to refer to the constitutional question to the federal court. The government has agreed to subsidize the purchase of economy-class flight tickets exceeding 599 ringgit for a one-way trip from the peninsula to Sabah, Sarawak and Labuan during the festive season. Transport Minister Anthony Loke said the initiative will first come into effect this Christmas at 12:01 a.m. on December 16th for the December 22nd to December 24th flights. Look said the subsidy was unanimously approved by the Cabinet on December the 13th, following complaints about the high prices and study in the peninsula. However, he said that these subsidies will not include taxes and fees. He also said that the same subsidy will continue next year for Chinese New Year, Hari Raya Aidilfitri, the Keamatan Festival, Gawai Day and Christmas, with tickets available for purchase beginning at 12:01 a.m. on January the 1st next year. For economy class flight tickets that exceed 599 ringgit, Lok said the government will pay the price difference between the original of the air ticket and the maximum price. The Finance Ministry MOF will resolve the issue of rejected eMadani e-wallet credit applications. Deputy Finance Minister Lim Hui Ying said she was aware of the technical issues arising from the government initiative. And while many individuals have successfully received their one-off 100 ringgit eMadani credit since it was launched last week, many eligible applicants also had their requests turned down. The eMadani is a government initiative to disperse 100 ringgit in e-credit to 10 million Malaysians aged 21 and above, with income below 100,000 ringgit per annum and who are not recipients of the past eBelia Rahmah credit. It was reported that over 9.5 million applicants have received the approval, involving an allocation of 950 million ringgit as of last Monday. Malaysia wants to further enhance economic, investment and trade cooperation with Japan in conjunction with its participation in the ASEAN-Japan Commemorative Summit. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, who left for Tokyo on Friday, said he would meet Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida in conjunction with the summit from December the 16th to December 18th that is being organised as part of the 50th anniversary celebration of the ASEAN-Japan Friendship and Cooperation.
Dan perbincangan ini tentulah meningkatkan kerjasama ekonomi, pelaburan dan perdagangan dengan negara Jepun.
For 8 successive years since 2015, Japan has been Malaysia's fourth trading partner. As of June 2023, a total of 2,778 projects by Japanese companies have been implemented in Malaysia, with investments amounting to 91.89 billion ringgit. Themed Golden Friendship, Golden Opportunities, the summit provides an opportunity for both nations to reflect on the past 50 years of cooperation and chart a course for the future, ensuring that ASEAN and Japan can continue to prosper together in the coming decades. Earlier, Datuk Seri Anwar and his wife, Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Aziza Wan Ismail, arrived in Tokyo at about 11:50 p.m. on Friday. He's also accompanied by 2 cabinet ministers on the trip. Foreign Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Hassan and Investment, Trade and Industry Minister Datuk Seri Tengku Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz. Malaysian Ambassador to Japan, Datuk Shahril Effendi Abdul Ghani, said Anwar on the first day of his 5-day working visit will have a bilateral meeting with his Japanese counterpart, Fumio Kishida, where both leaders will announce a comprehensive strategic partnership. Anwar and Kishida will also witness the signing and exchange of notes of the Official Security Assistance Grant Aid and the exchange of Memorandum of Cooperation on Space Development and the application between the two countries. While in Tokyo, Anwar will join other leaders of the grouping for the ASEAN-Japan Commemorative Summit on Sunday and the Asia Zero Emission Community Summit that is working to help the regional grouping to set the benchmark in managing emissions. Anwar will also be meeting top executives of 3 major Japanese corporations, Robwako, Toshiba and Mitsui & Co., before adjourning to a meeting with captains of industries in Japan.
Dalam pada itu, Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri juga akan mengadakan pertemuan dengan tokoh korporat dan ahli perniagaan dari syarikat-syarikat terbesar di Jepun bagi menarik lebih banyak lagi pelaburan langsung asing ke Malaysia dan memperkuatkan hubungan perdagangan di antara Malaysia dan Jepun.
Meanwhile, the ASEAN-Malaysia National Secretariat Director General at the Foreign Office, Dato' Zanaria Zainal Abidin, said at the end of the summit, the leaders will issue a joint vision statement. She said during the summit themed Golden Friendship, Golden Opportunities, a comprehensive strategic cooperation plan will be rolled out to further strengthen ASEAN-Japan cooperation. When asked about the issues that Anwar may raise during the summit, Zanaria did not rule out the possibility that the Prime Minister may take up the Palestine issue, where Malaysia wants to see a permanent ceasefire.
Daripada segi ekonomi, kerjasama FTA sedia ada, kerjasama melalui CTPPP, RCEP untuk memajukan lagi kerjasama ekonomi. Dan itu adalah antara yang saya boleh katakan buat sama ini, and of course antara satu perkara yang YB Perdana Menteri selalu akan bangkitkan adalah perkembangan di Palestin lah.
It is expected that Anwar will also touch on digitalization in ASEAN, where it can help empower small businesses and boost internet penetration in the rural areas across the region. Beijing train collision sends hundreds to hospital. News from the foreign front when we return. With its offensive in Gaza, sending airstrikes across the Strip and killing dozens of Palestinians. In the latest Zionist atrocities, hospitals in Deir el-Balah, Khan Yunis and Rafah reported rising casualties after strikes early in the morning. At least 17 people were killed and dozens of others were injured after artillery fire struck a school and a residential home. According to one of the directors at the Al-Nasir Hospital, 2 artillery strikes hit Haifa School, where displaced residents were sheltering and killed 12 people, the majority of those children. Meanwhile, 5 people were also killed after a house in western Khan Yunis was hit. Over the past 68 days, more than 18,700 Palestinians have been killed in the Zionist attacks. South Korea's defense ministry has expressed its regret and lodged a protest to China and Russia over the intrusion of its air defense zone by the neighboring country's military aircraft on Thursday. The protest was conveyed by the ministry's head of International Policy Bureau to the military attaché stationed at the Chinese and Russian embassies in Seoul. South Korea and Japan scrambled fighter jets when 2 Chinese and 4 Russian military planes flew over the sea between the 2 countries and entered their air defense zones. Now, according to the International Civil Aviation Organization, the Air Defense Identification Zone is an area where countries may unilaterally demand that foreign aircraft take special steps to identify themselves. Moscow does not recognize Korea's air defense zone, while Beijing has stated that the zone is not territorial airspace and all countries should enjoy freedom of movement there. As erratic weather patterns continue across most of China, more than 500 people have been hospitalized after two subway trains collided amid heavy snowfall in Beijing. Authorities in the Chinese capital said on Friday that 102 people had suffered broken bones when the accident happened in West Beijing on an above-ground portion of the sprawling Changping subway line. Now, according to officials, the accident was due to the weather conditions as slippery tracks prompted a braking on the leading train. The train following from behind was on a descending section and went into a skid, unable to brake in time. No deaths, however, were reported, and 423 people have been released from hospital, leaving 25 passengers under observation and 67 others still hospitalized. China has been in the grip of the harsh winter weather over the recent days, as snow began building in Beijing since Monday. On to sports, badminton, the 2023 BWF World Tour Finals. National mixed doubles pair Cheng Tang-jae, To Yi-wei's dream to advance to the semi-finals were dashed after they lost to Thailand's Dichapo Puavaranuro and Sapsiri Te Ratanachai on Friday night. Take a look. The duo started strong and claimed the first set but failed to maintain their performance in the next two sets after losing 21-18, 18-21, 14-21 to the Thai pair. With this result, Tang-ji, Yi-wei ended their debut in the World Tour Finals, although they have defied the odds to beat Japan's Yuta Watanabe Arisa Higashino for the first time on Thursday. Meanwhile, it was the end of the road for national men's top doubles pair Aaron Chia, So Wee-yik. Aaron Wee-yik attempted to salvage some pride in this outing but failed to defeat world number one pair Liang Wei-king, Wang Chang of China before losing 21-18, 14-21, 12-21 in an hour. The loss saw the duo finishing their Group A campaign in the fourth spot, without a single win, while the host pair stood second in the group to accompany compatriots Liu Yuchen Ao Swan Yi to the semi-finals.
Wow.
On to hockey. Malaysia ended their 2023 Men's FIH Hockey Junior World Cup campaign in 12th place, succumbing to New Zealand 3-4 in a penalty shootout during the 11th and 12th classification match on Friday. New Zealand secured the first goal through a penalty corner by Luke Eldred in the 4th minute before Muhammad Adam Ashraf Muhammad Johari equalised through a field goal just 2 minutes later. However, the young Tigers found themselves trailing once again as Sam Linz scored a field goal in the 9th minute, closing the action for the first quarter at 2-1. Malaysia fought back and eventually Muhammad Shamir Rizmi Shamsul found the equaliser by scoring a field goal in the 57th minute, forcing the match into a penalty shootout only to lose 3-4. With this result, New Zealand secured the 11th position while Malaysia settled for the 12th place. Reenactment with child witnesses sheds new light into Zain Rayyan investigation. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's 1.3 billion ringgit. That is how much medical tourism contributed to the economy last year. But are we getting the most from Malaysia's strategic location, fantastic connectivity and world-class medical services? FMT's Natasha Bust finds out how we can take medical tourism to the next level.
Beautiful beaches, delicious food, lush rainforest, and top-class hospitality. These are among the reasons people are drawn to Malaysia. And they're also very important in drawing in another group of people, medical tourists. Last year alone, Malaysia generated 1.3 billion ringgit in revenue from medical tourism, double the 600 million ringgit in revenue recorded in 2021. That is a lot of money, and it's not just the private hospitals that benefit. Everyone from small traders, hotels, and e-hailing drivers, among others, benefit from medical tourists. So how do we build on this success and attract even more medical tourists than the over 800,000 we drew in 2022? Malaysian Association of Tour and Travel Agents President Nigel Wong says the government needs to incentivize tour agents.
The right incentivization means that agents will be more inclined to sell medical tourism products. Secondly, they need to also, together with the various agencies like MHTC, provide adequate training, on not just how to handle medical tourism, but also how to promote medical tourism products.
This includes targeting promotions towards specific markets seeking medical treatment overseas, including China and India. He also believes it is necessary to effectively communicate Malaysia's offerings in the tourism and medical sector.
Malaysia needs to be able to effectively combine their medical offerings together with the tourism potential, because many of the destinations in Malaysia are suitable for people post-op to go for what we call convalescence or healing.
Association of Private Hospitals Malaysia President Dr. Kuljit Singh says private-public collaboration is key.
Is there collaboration currently? The short answer is no, because the aviation industry just works on their own to bring patients in. If there is more cooperation between government and airlines that have wider connectivity with their target countries such as Indonesia, it would effectively boost medical tourism.
Kuljit believes the spillover from medical tourism will be beneficial to Malaysians as a whole.
It will allow private hospitals to expand, providing job opportunities to locals and more revenue for the government from taxation. It will also generate more income for related industries like hotels, restaurants and tourism activities.
Malaysia is aiming to achieve 1.7 billion ringgit in healthcare travel revenue by 2025. Can we achieve this goal? Only time will tell. Natasha Bust, FMT for Nightline.
Police forensic personnel were seen at Block R of the Idaman apartment in Damansara Damai on Friday morning near where Zain Rayyan Abdul Matin was last seen. A group of police investigators were also seen with two children, believed to be the ones who last saw the autistic boy before he was found murdered near the apartment. It was learned that police were conducting a reenactment with the two children who were also friends of the victim, aged 6 and 9. The team arrived at the apartment blocks at about 11 a.m. and its members were seen accompanying one child who had allegedly seen Zain Rayyan during the evening of his disappearance on December the 5th. The child reenacted Zain Rayyan's movements on that day. The forensic team conducted the reenactment at Block R before the child witness was taken to the staircase near some bushes. However, the media could only take pictures and observe from a distance and were not allowed to approach the apartment area. It was reported on Thursday that police had identified the two child witnesses in connection with Zain Rayyan's murder through mass screening. A part-time event management consultant has pleaded guilty to stalking a female photographer by harassing her through social media in July after he had earlier claimed trial to the charge. Muhammad Safiq Rosli entered the plea before Magistrate Sasha Diana Sabtu on Friday. The 37-year-old is the first to be charged for stalking under Section 507A, subsection 1 of the Penal Code. He had previously pleaded not guilty when the charge was first read to him on August the 10th. On the same day, the court also allowed the prosecution's request to refer the accused to the Forensic Psychiatric Unit of Ulu Kinta Hospital for observation. Magistrate Sasha Diana, in accepting the guilty plea, said she had read the findings of the medical report, which stated that the accused was fit for trial and also fit to plead. The court then set December 19th to hear the facts of the case before sentencing. Muhammad Safiq was charged with repeatedly harassing Keisha Mardiana Daud, aged 31, through Twitter, known now as X, despite knowing that the act was likely to cause distress, fear or alarm to her. He faces imprisonment of up to 3 years or a fine or both if found guilty. This time around, let's take a look at Palestinians who were seen in the streets of Jerusalem's old city praying outside the Al-Aqsa Mosque on Friday. With that, I'm Adrian Seed. Thank you for tuning in and have a great weekend ahead.